each other, right? So with that, I just want to kind of provide some quick, housekeeping. So you know about me, I introduce myself. Then Sankar is another my friend. He's also from Singapore. And we both decided, we both have like over decades of experience, as you can see in the industry. And mainly, uh, we are two nerd, I would say, who has helped so many companies. In fact, I have, you can see my profile, helped 100 plus companies to implement such technologies. Um, and from that, our learning was that building model is one skill. However, taking that model and converting that into application, or even deploying that model to be used by application as an API, or maybe just some your process, ETL process, or whatever, right? It has its own I would say depth of complexity. For example, uh, if you're working on sensitive topic like finance forecasting or something, people are not going to give you access to the finance data, but they still have to develop the model. So what is the right strategy to anonymize the data, give it back to the data scientist and dev team to kind of use that to development. So I don't want to go in detail, but we saw that this is a gap where operationalization or products or putting something into production is kind of requires a lot of multi disciplinary collaboration to do that. And that's where we are, using that our learning to right now recite some of the session topics. However, since everybody is nowadays, spending time on AI, and if you're also interested, you can just let me know. We can set up some session to let you speak about any interesting thing you want to share with the community, right? So with that, uh, I think that is all housekeeping. Now let's get into the real thing, right? So we are here, AI agent, and AI agents are nothing but they are kind of your digital employee for knowledge workforce, right? Not for a labor workforce. There are two types of workforce. There are many names people call it. Some people they call, blue and white coat, or somebody call labor and knowledge workforce. Knowledge workforce is more like a decision-making management role, and all the roles which require somebody to sit in office and go through a lot of data and come up with a decision to run the business operations, right? And today we have AI capabilities that can kind of surpass human capability in reasoning. Reason for that is it's not AI versus human. We are like organic machine. Our processing is not consistent as AI, where we are more like our brain has to take care of our body and every other phenomena, not just remembering the information, right? It has a lot of work. And we have like cognitive challenges. We cannot remember so much information. We cannot process so much information. That's where this AI thing is becoming more like our outside brain to do our work in business, right? So that's where the new type of employees are coming, digital employee or AI workforce, or many names are coming, or AI agents. What they're going to do, and mainly they are going to run our business processes, right? End-to-end business processes in some cases, or they can also execute certain tasks, right? For example, you can go to ChatGPT today and say that, hey, tell me uh, about some company name. It will go and fire, some query on internet, pull that data, and that is like one kind of task, right? You did not go to internet and do that. You just simply said it goes and automatically decides, like, okay, I have to pull this information from internet. So that kind of logical thinking, these new AI agentic systems got, because unlike before where we had like a very fixed structure or flow of business logic, now we have more like a brain and list of tools. And when you give a goal, based on goal, the brain and everything around orchestrator decides which tool to use, right? It's a awesome development. So you can see at the end, this is the diagram represents very nicely, right? Left side, to interact with these agents, you can have autonomous agents where you're just having a dashboard to see the result done by these agents, or you can have a decision support agents, which we know already, chatbot like ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, and Office 365 Copilot, and many others are there. Where you just have to tell, and it will do the work based on the data it has access to, right? And then API connectors where you can call an agent using API. Um, so, so like that, there are three ways you can interact with these agents. And of course, you will have your agent workflow manager. That's the one going to call the LLMs, or to take your query and ask LLM what to do, convert that into the task, and and to use that task, it has to also connect with the knowledge, your organizational knowledge. It also has to keep the context of whatever communication you have been doing. That's the session memory, right? And not just sometimes your work could be not just one simple task. It can have a multiple tasks. So it has to store that data in memory or also in databases to know that context, because at the end, user has given a goal, not ask a task. That means it has to internally figure it out, all the task result, and finally consolidate that with to give you the final result, right? And of course, today, if you're trying to implement an AI agent, it's not just about searching internet or something like that, right? It's also about integrating that agent with your organizational system, depending on which industry you belong to, whether it's a finance system or maybe some generic systems like CRMs or marketing tools or things like that, right? It has to connect. So these are like whole thing. When it comes to AI agentic system, it's not simple. You can see like there are mainly four components: user interaction, your AI capabilities, your knowledge database, your connectors, right? And finally, uh, it will do the work you have given. So this is what our future of workforce is going to look like, right? So far, we have seen that, hey, we have a loan department. This is an example of finance industry, right? Where we have a loan department manager. Under that, you have so many loan underwriter, loan officer, some other managers. But future is going to change from that to this, where you'll have one senior people. Under that, there will be some AI agents along with some human employees, and even under human employees could have more specialist AI agent. For example, in this case, a loan underwriter can have a loan underwriter agent which can assess the risk of application and approve or reject things like that. So this is the future going to be, right? So I'll just take a pause here and to see what you think about it. What is something uh, you know of your interest here, or if you have any question, please. It's like a two-way conversation. I'm not trying to give a speech here, right? It's more about I want to share something and would like to hear your feedback, and then we'll go to the next topic. So yeah, any question, any feedback, any comment, feel free. You can put it in the chat also, or maybe you can on your mic and say here. Meanwhile, I wanted to show something. Let's see. Uh, so one thing is, feel free to interrupt me. Okay, I'm just showing something to you. Uh, this is the thing which we all have to know. The 2025 year is going to be the year of AI agents, right? You can see, I think there was one from yeah, Forbes. They will be saying that 2025 is the year of AI agent, because you know now more and more AI agents are coming into market, which we'll talk later. Enterprises already they started exploring about these AI agents and start using it, right, to do all the manual and uh, yeah, repetitive tasks, which kind of frees the human employees to more focus on a strategic task than doing anything repetitive. Yeah, Prajesh, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I was just connected through my phone, so I again came back to my system.
That's
I
fine.
just wanted to know about like how it's going to help in a service industry. where there are a lot of companies in service, right? So how it is going to help in service side?
I think that's a very good question because service industry is where we are talking about, doing very repetitive tasks, right? For example, let's take a company which provides maybe, uh, a restaurant, right? Like they provide food delivery, right? It's a very standard processes they have to follow because usually the service industry works on the shared infrastructure, shared processes. They cannot have their own delivery drivers. They usually partner with somebody else, right? Like Grab or somebody who does that. That means these things are very technologically integrated to run the service industry. Like innovation is, uh, I would say innovation is there more into user experience, but when it comes to running the process, it's very standard. And that kind of use cases AI agent can do, right? For example, you can have an AI agent in that case where anytime order comes, right? Maybe I'm just thinking loud here, right? You can immediately notify driver that, hey, maybe I'm going to take a little bit longer, come late, right? Uh, Usually what happens, like driver, they come to restaurant and waiting there for food to get ready, and it's like a waste of time. So that kind of optimization can be done because you have an autonomous agent working in the back end and keeping an eye, and you can just say that, hey, 5 minutes more, 5 minutes more. You just put something on interface, and then it notifies the entire system, right? So like lot of efficiencies can be there. Already, I know it's already very efficient, but further we can do that. So yeah, that's the thing, right? Service industry has a very standard processes, and that's where I believe AI agents can do. Already, tool is there, but still a lot of human inputs are required that can be automated.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Sorry, I'm just keep on pressing something here. Uh, okay. If no question, then let's get into this framework I have created, right? And okay, somebody's here. I just missed it. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, I've created this framework, right? So the very first thing, if you are a business leader and you want to implement AI agents for your business, uh, you cannot just simply go based on opinion. You have to take a structured approach, right? The very first thing would be to understand your current business needs, right? Why do you need AI agent? We all know that AI agents are mainly to automate your task, work 24 by 7, but they are going to cost you, right? And that's why you need to understand. For example, let's say uh, try to figure it out your existing processes. Let's say you have an IT team, and their job is to every time internal employee, for some reason want to change the password. They have to go to them, and maybe they don't work 24 by 7, right? They are available 9 to 5, or they're not available on weekend, and that kind of lot of productivity loss for other people, right, working in your sales or marketing, or maybe your other operations or supply chain or whatever, depending on the industry, right? It's a lot of productivity loss. Unfortunately, you cannot make human to work 24 by 7. I mean, you can do that theoretically, put a 3 shift people, but it is going to cost you a lot, right? And that cost is not sometimes worth it, and that's why people will not have that implemented, right? For the same reason, uh, industry, they try to bring, I would say, a self service portal, things like that. But some people, they don't do because they want explicit control. Don't let people change it. Maybe, for example, you don't want your contractor employee to reset the password for some security reason, right? So in that case, you can have those kind of things. In some cases, it's not as easy as giving someone easy access to reset the password. That's where you can put, so some company policies are there. That's where you can put an AI agent that can run your workflow. The human part you need somebody to understand the company policy and then decide whether to reset the password or not. That's that kind of business logic you can implement using that, right? Or other could be, for example, your finance team is using manual process to generate invoices or expenses. Sometimes, especially reimbursement is not as easy as somebody just submits and you approve it, right? You need a human loop there, right? To make sure people are following the organizational policy again, and they are not breaking, and that's where again you can bring something as an AI agent to do that job for you, right? And there are many other places where humans are really inefficient. They do manual work, they do repetitive work. I'll give an example of healthcare, right? In healthcare, what happens that every, I mean, a lot of research are happening. Um, Drugs are changing, clinical trials are happening, especially for cancer cases where a lot of research and developments are happening. So many clinical trials are going on right now. They conclude like very often, and if you are a medical oncologist or you are oncologist, you have to keep eye on those development, right? Like what are new clinical trials available in the market, or what happened to the previous clinical trial, or things like that. Or even you have to read about all the new journals coming out of those research or the report, right? And it becomes kind of hard for a medical oncologist to do. I don't know whether you guys know or not, but really we are facing shortage of oncologists, across the world. Singapore and some developed countries are well positioned. However, if you go to countries like Africa and other places, it's like one doctor per 1,000 customer. Even in some countries, you have no doctors. So those places are, you can see, right? Like, so why it's happening? Because as a human, as a doctor, they can only see in number of maybe 10 to 20 patient per day, right? But that's why, right? Because these doctors, they have to do a lot of administrative tasks. What if an AI agent to help them with whenever a patient is coming there, it can summarize all the patient data. That way, doctor is not spending 10 minutes of going through all the documents or reading about it. Or like any minute, even you are saving for the doctor, you are kind of helping somebody, to get a better treatment, right? So like a lot of inefficiencies are there, and it's all because of our human limitations, right? I talked about it's a cognitive limitation. Also, not everybody has a good critical thinking. I'll give another example. Myself, I asked one of mortgage company in the US that, hey, I'm selling one house and I have another house, but for my current house, the interest rate is like low. Can I transfer this my interest rate to another house? And the answer was like, hey, you cannot, because the new buyer of your house, we don't transfer mortgage to the new buyer. I'm like, I'm not asking for the new buyer. I'm the same guy asking for myself from my one house to another house. So this kind of thinking, I don't know. I have seen, especially in customer support, like usually customer support team, they try to come up to the answer, not without asking further question if they are not clear, or maybe they are busy. I don't know, whatever the reason, right? So anyway, long story short is a lot of human inefficiencies are there, and based on that, we have to take other parties taking a decision, right? And that decision could be costly, right? For example, I had like almost half of the mortgage of my old house. That is like I'm talking about $2,000 to $3,000 per month. That much interest I was paying. So the reason I'm talking is for these customer operation team, it's more like, hey, I did my job. For other party, it is a money, right? It's in some cases it could be more serious than that. That's why we need a very intelligent and very good systems right out there. Anyway, so you can find a lot of inefficiencies and things like that, in your day-to-day life as well. And that's where AI agents are going to play the role. However, once you have the business needs, right, next thing you have to always think about KPI, right? For example, you can have API facing your internal operations, or you can focus on your customer facing KPIs. Here are some of the KPIs I have, written: invoice processing time, or time to hire a candidate, or contract review time as a human, how long they take, and how much you want to further improve in order to succeed in your business, right? And once you have those KPIs, then you can think about what kind of things you have to do later. Anyway, but One more thing here is a lot of theoretical, right? I would recommend not to do that. A lot of opinion-based decision making. There are tools out there. As a business leader, please focus on data-driven approach. Else it becomes so much opinion. I would say dogfight among management that no, you are right, I'm wrong. No, let's do this or that. All those nonsense will start getting into. But you can just simply use some process mining tool to map the process, whichever process you are thinking, or not whichever. I mean, you can literally map all your processes and then start so that everybody knows like which processes you have and how much it takes right end to end to execute that process, and that gives you a solid foundation to buy other stakeholders. And here are some of the tools I have used. For example, UiPath, process mining, you can use Celonis, or in fact you can use any other diagram tool to create process by yourself, right? Some Lucid or any diagram tool, you can do that. But having that is very important, right? The next thing is you need to have a dashboard because you want to come up with a KPI, expected KPI, to achieve, so that when you are going to implement, you can also measure the current KPIs, and then you can kind of do the comparison. Then that helps you to scale and optimize your approach, right? So I'll go to the next, right? Like now, let's go to once you have these objectives, business requirement, you decided your KPIs, you use this tool to kind of, have a data that you are going to use to talk to your internal team. Our meeting will, okay, we have 10 minutes. I'll try to be short. But yeah, let's go to AI agent, right? So there are many AI agents, as we know, but however, it depends on perspective of how these AI agents can be used in many different types, right? So first one is usage, right? You can the Chat GPT, Microsoft Copilot, and others. Those are more like a personal agents for you. You can use them to improve your productivity, whether you want to do internet research, want to create some files, create some email, things like that. Even some agents come part of your existing SaaS tools, right? But there are agents like organizational agents. Those are more like all the Slack or Teams and other Notion. They give you more organizational level capability. They have knowledge of entire organization. You can ask policy. You can ask, even you can send your new HR, updates to everybody. Like they are kind of not specific to one domain knowledge. They're more about they have knowledge of your entire organization and the policy and everything for every employee. And you can both sides, like everyone within organization can broadcast their message, or others can consume it to know everything else, whatever, like what is your leave policy, what is your uh, you know uh, what we call annual review, performance, things like that, whatever, right? Those kind of thing can be done, and already many people are doing that, right? But most important one is the business process agent, the third one. That's where you are going to automate your business processes or semi-automated, right? In sales, marketing, you take any operation, even I'm just I have added here for a finance industry loan application. You can automate that as well. And finally, the cross org. In some cases, you have to collaborate with your partners and maybe some other, especially in MNCs, they have to work with across business unit to do their work. Then you have like a cross org agents, you can use that. So that is more like a user perspective. However, all these agents can be categorized into only two types, right? One is autonomous agent. They do their job. You just have you have to literally provide no input to do their job, because anytime, for example, loan application is submitted, automatically agent can pick up that application, do risk analysis, credit score, search everything, and finally come up with a result whether to approve this application or not. You just have to review the result, or even you don't have to do that depending on your needs. And or maybe you can, of course, there must be a way to provide a feedback whether these agents are doing their job well or not, right? So that's the part. Second agents are like a co-pilot agents. We talked about a little bit, right? Productivity agents, where you have to tell agent what to do, and based on that, they have to perform certain actions, right? However, now let's go into implementation, right? Like to use these agents, to implement these agents, like what are two approaches, right? So there are two approaches always for any software: build or buy, right? So buy is the first approach always prefer, because this space is so much changing. I would not recommend to try to build it unless it is very innovative and specific business process case. However, go by already tons of tools are out there. Agent.ai here, for example, I can show you. Uh, this is from HubSpot. They have created a lot of agents which you can use for your regular sales and marketing. You can company research, CRM update. You can see so much email. They have like tons of that. Same way, Microsoft has created 10 agents. I think they're going to add more and more. And like that, even the service now, Bharti, you were there. You guys have some agents like that. Every software provider, they have come up with agents. Microsoft launched 10 agents. It was really helpful. uh, so yeah, and another thing is our 2 3 popular places we can go G2 or to find AI agents and go through the review of other businesses leaders, right? Like what they think about it, and for all your needs you can go for Capterra uh, to find these agents, right? And of course, I'll talk about some of the challenges of these two platforms. These are really popular platforms. They were really doing well back then, but I believe for all the new startup companies, they're not keeping updated. That's why I added you some more agent directories like AI agents list. And one more is AI agents direct. You can find like tons of new startups who are in this space, and for 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 both, right? Not out of box agent, and uh, also you can find agent builder, right? So that's where I was talking about the second part, build. Custom development, you can use Microsoft Copilot Studio, Salesforce Agentforce, or Crew AI, or other platform to build your custom agents, right? However, this is another strategy. Next is implementation, right? Once you decided like which agents to go, whether custom or out of the box, and what purpose that agent is going to solve, and then you have to think about implementing, right? Don't try to implement so many agents at a time. Just use with decide one to go with first based on your urgency impact. Most importantly, it has to be easily implemented, and data is available for that, because all these agents are going to work on organizational data. And try to use your agent that can provide cross departmental, because as a leader, you have to first show a good success before, otherwise people are there to kill your even they will do the same thing, but they will kill your initiative, right? So try to bring something which can provide cross departmental benefit, right? And when it comes to implement, think of doing first pilot deployment, right? Select one deployment, one use case. Makes your for the first use case, AI is not taking autonomous decision. Keep the human in the loop. Measure the performance based on your KPI. And finally, there will be always a limitation. Try to understand the limitation, because this learning will help you to plan for the next agent better, right? And so that is phase one. Based on that, phase two, you can go for connecting with your tools, your organizational tools, to let go autonomous now, right? And do the work. And yeah, and then update your process, workflows, and SOPs. But here is a big challenge we're going to face, right? We are talking about bringing AI agent to do the job. That means it's going to impact your workforce. That's the next thing you have to think about. So workforce integration is very important. Try to communicate your benefits very clearly so that people would not resist it, right? And most importantly, you have to train them, upskill them as well, so that they know how to use this AI agent. They have to learn these new processes now, which are going to change. And most importantly, you have to also kind of change their mindset to come out of this feeling that they are doing so much tasks to, hey, you have to play now different role, a strategic role, let the AI do the job. It's a big mindset change, right? And finally, you make sure you use some analytics to make the future changes, right? Then the last page is always going to be, you have to scale more, because now we talked about how to start with one pilot use case and learn from that, and from there we try to scale to more use cases. However, I would always recommend to go with where you had the success. Don't try new new area, otherwise you are increasing the risk of your investment. So first go become best in some chosen area where a structured data is there, most importantly easy to implement, and also ROIs are very clear, right? From that success, try to create a center of excellence, and then go from there. Most important, another part of this is going to be AI is going to bring a lot of governance and risk mitigation needs, and make sure you have plan for that and do that, right? And yeah, getting feedback from customer and employee is very important, so that at the end it's not about a one-way street, it's a both-way street. We want to make sure they are part of your process, so they do the work. So yeah, pretty much that's about it. I will share the deck later. I know we are running out of time. If any questions, here is my email, my phone number. Feel free to reach out, and of course I'll answer your questions.